Under the soft blush of dawn, the ocean lies still. Its surface shimmers like molten glass, stretching to the very edge of sight, unbroken except for the slow rise and fall of its breath. The air is cool here, damp with salt, and every sound is softened, as though the world itself has not yet fully woken. Somewhere, far from any shore, a small wooden vessel drifts. Its sail is lowered. Its oars rest idle. The crew sits quietly, listening to the whisper of water against the hull. They have been at sea for days, following a course that is not marked on any map, guided only by the words of old men in quiet taverns, and the half-forgotten songs of sailors long gone. They speak of a place, older than memory, hidden beneath the waves, a city built with stones the size of mountains, a city where gold paved the streets, where gardens bloomed in the heart of the sea. Atlantis. The name alone carries a weight, like the sound of a deep bell in the stillness. Some say it was a gift from the gods. Others claim it was a lesson, a warning. But whatever truth hides in its story, it is said that Atlantis was real, and that somewhere, its bones still rest in the dark. The sun climbs slowly higher, its light spilling across the endless blue. Shadows soften, colors brighten, and the horizon wavers in the gentle heat. Seabirds drift overhead, their wings barely moving, as though reluctant to disturb the quiet. The sailors begin to row again, each pull slow and steady, the rhythm older than language. The water here feels different, heavier perhaps, as if guarding something deep below. A faint current brushes the sides of the boat, guiding it without force, nudging it toward an unseen path. By midday, the air grows warmer. The sea takes on a deeper hue, a blue so rich it feels almost alive. From the side of the boat, one can see far down into the water, where soft beams of sunlight fall like columns through the depths. Small fish shimmer and vanish, their scales flashing silver before the shadows claim them. An old sailor sits at the bow, his eyes fixed ahead. He does not speak, but in his weathered hands he holds a small carved pendant, a spiral worn smooth by years of touch. He says it came from his grandfather, who swore it was found on a beach after a great storm. Its shape does not match any shell, its stone not from any known shore. Some say it was once part of the city. The hours drift by. The sound of the sea is constant, like a great, slow heartbeat. The crew speaks less now, each man watching the water with quiet attention, as though expecting it to reveal something. And then, just as the sun begins to sink again, the current changes. It is not sudden, not violent, but it is certain. The boat drifts into water that feels colder, the light above shifting into a softer gold. Beneath them, shapes begin to stir in the gloom. At first they are only shadows, then faint outlines, patterns too deliberate to be the work of chance. The sailors lean over the edge, and for a moment, no one breathes. Far below, a line of stones stretches into the dark. Not jagged, not broken by nature, but smooth, flat, and perfect. Some are carved with symbols worn by centuries of water. Others are stacked, forming the faint suggestion of walls. The old sailor touches his pendant once more. A murmur runs through the crew, half fear, half awe. They have found something. Above, the sky burns with the last colors of evening. The wind is soft, the sea calm, but in the depths below, the shadows seem to wait, patient, as if aware of the eyes now upon them. The captain orders the anchor dropped. The chain rattles out, the sound echoing strangely over the still water. The boat settles into place, swaying gently, tethered above what may be the edge of a legend. Night begins to fall. Stars appear one by one, their reflections trembling on the surface. Somewhere beneath them, the city sleeps, unseen for ages, untouched by wind or rain. It lies in silence, its gates closed, its streets empty. And yet, in the quiet of the sea, there is a sense that it waits. For what? No one can say. The morning comes quietly. The first light spills across the sea, painting it in soft layers of silver and pale blue. The air is cool, carrying with it the faint scent of salt and something else. Something older, deeper, as though the ocean itself is exhaling its secrets. The crew stirs slowly. A few men sit at the edge of the boat, their legs dangling just above the water, staring into the depths. Beneath them, the shapes they saw last night remain, silent, unmoving, waiting. The captain stands at the center of the deck, his gaze steady. He knows that to see more, they must go down. Ropes are coiled, weights are checked, and the long descent begins to take shape in their minds. There is no modern equipment here, only the most trusted of old methods. Each man will carry a stone weight to help them sink, and a rope tied around his waist so that he may be pulled back if need be. The sea is calm, but in its stillness, there is a heaviness that makes even the most seasoned sailors hesitate. The first diver readies himself. He takes one slow breath, then another. The rope is looped securely, the weight held in his hands. He looks once more at the sky, as if memorizing it, before he slips into the water. The surface closes above him with barely a sound. Instantly the world changes. The light becomes softer, filtered through the moving skin of the ocean. Every sound is muffled, replaced by the slow rush of bubbles and the deep hum of the water itself. Down he goes, the weight pulling him steadily lower. At first, there is only the familiar world of the shallow sea. Darting fish, strands of drifting seaweed, shafts of sunlight dancing in the currents. But soon, the light begins to fade. The water grows cooler, the colors deeper, and then, out of the blue, the stones appear. He sees them clearly now. They are not scattered fragments, but a road. A road laid out in perfect lines, its edges still sharp despite the endless years. The stones are enormous, each one carved, fitted, and placed with care. Tiny shells cling to their surface, while small fish weave in and out of the gaps. The diver moves forward, his hands brushing the smooth edges. Symbols are carved into some of them. Spirals, circles, patterns that repeat like the rhythm of the tide. They are worn, but they speak of skill, of intention. This was not the work of nature. To his left, something rises from the seabed. At first, it seems a cliff, but as he moves closer, its shape changes. Pillars, tall and graceful, rising from massive bases, their tops lost in the shadow above. Between them, an archway stands, its frame covered in coral and strands of pale seaweed that sway gently in the current. The diver feels the pull of the rope. Time is short. He takes one last look, then lets the weight fall from his hands and kicks upward. The water lightens, the air grows warmer, and then, with a sharp gasp, he breaks the surface. The men on the boat pull him in quickly. His eyes are wide, his voice low as he speaks. He tells them of the road, the carvings, the archway. The old sailor closes his hand around the pendant at his neck, as if to steady himself. Another diver is already readying himself. One by one they go down, each returning with more to tell. A wall, a staircase, the remains of a column carved in the shape of a coiled serpent. It is all there, lying silent in the cold dark, as though waiting for footsteps that will never come. By midday, the crew has seen enough to know. This is no shipwreck, no scattering of lost stones. This is a city, and if the tales are true, it is only the edge of something far greater. The captain stands at the bow, looking down at the rippling blue. The sun glints off the water, but in his mind, he sees the shadows below. He knows they will need to go deeper, to step onto those roads themselves. But the sea does not give up its secrets easily. The day drifts into evening once more. The men sit quietly, their faces turned toward the horizon. The waves lap against the hull in a steady, unhurried rhythm. Beneath them, the stones lie untouched, the road stretching out into darkness. Tomorrow, they will follow it. The morning begins without haste. A pale light spreads across the water, soft and fragile, as if afraid to disturb the secrets it hides. The sea is still, save for the quiet ripples around the boat's hull. Somewhere far below, the stones wait. The crew moves with quiet purpose. Today, they will go farther than before. The weights are prepared, the ropes coiled, and the divers ready themselves with the practiced calm of men who understand the ocean's moods. The captain gives no speech, no grand command, only a nod. The first diver steps to the edge and falls silently into the depths. The water embraces him, cool and heavy. The sound of the world above disappears almost instantly, replaced by the muted pulse of the sea. Down he drifts, the rope steady against his waist, the weight in his hands drawing him deeper. The light dims, the colors shift. And then, as before, the stones appear. But this time he does not stop at the road. He follows it, hand over hand along the rope, each step slow and deliberate. The road leads toward the great archway he glimpsed before. A structure far larger than he had imagined. Its pillars rise like ancient trees, their surfaces covered in a living tapestry of coral, barnacles, and drifting seaweed. Passing beneath it feels like crossing into another world. Beyond the archway, the seafloor opens into a vast plaza. The road widens here, framed by low walls that are broken in places, yet still bear traces of their original carvings. Mosaic tiles lie scattered across the ground, tiny pieces of colored stone, their patterns long faded but still beautiful in the soft blue light. To the left, a row of columns stretches into the gloom, each topped with shapes too worn to name. Some are leaning, others toppled, but together they suggest the outline of a grand hall. Fish dart through the spaces where windows once stood, and the occasional flicker of a larger shadow moves just beyond sight. To the right, the remains of stairways rise upward, but their destination is gone, claimed by the sea. Yet the stairs themselves are smooth, their edges unbroken, as if waiting for footsteps that will never return. The diver's heart beats steadily, each thud echoing in his ears. He feels no fear here, only a strange calm, as though the city has accepted his presence. He moves forward, brushing aside strands of seaweed to reveal more carvings, spirals, suns, and strange symbols unlike any known script. He does not understand them, but he feels their weight. A movement catches his eye. Ahead, a narrow street branches off from the plaza. It is lined with low stone buildings, their roofs long gone, their doorways standing open to the currents. Inside, shadows dance as fish pass through. He swims slowly between them, his hands grazing the walls. Here and there, shelves still cling to the stone. Niches carved into the walls, perhaps once holding jars, tools, or scrolls. In one room, a large basin sits half buried in sand. Its rim is etched with a pattern of waves and birds in flight. The work still sharp after all this time. In another, a statue lies face down on the floor, the figure of a man, though its features have been worn smooth by centuries underwater. The diver's rope tugs gently. His time is almost over. He turns back, passing once more through the plaza, under the shadow of the archway, and along the ancient road. The light above grows stronger, the water warmer, until at last he bursts through the surface, gasping for air. The crew gathers around, listening closely as he speaks. One by one, the others go down, each following the same path. They return with more details. A collapsed tower at the edge of the plaza, the remains of a fountain shaped like a seashell, and a strange, perfectly round stone set into the ground at the plaza's center. The captain listens in silence. When the last man surfaces, he looks out over the water, his jaw tight. He knows they have only touched the outer edges of this place. The heart of the city lies deeper still. As the day fades, the crew sits quietly, watching the horizon darken. The ocean glimmers under the first stars, hiding its treasures in plain sight. Somewhere below, the streets of Atlantis sleep on, waiting for the day their silence will be broken. Tomorrow they will go farther still. The morning sea is restless, not with storms, but with an unspoken tension, as though it knows what is coming. The wind carries the smell of salt and distant rain, and the waves lift and fall with a rhythm that seems almost deliberate. The captain stands at the bow, eyes fixed on the horizon. He has not slept much. The memory of yesterday's plaza, the archway, the columns, the carved symbols, lingers in his thoughts like the echo of a dream. Today, they will not stop at the plaza. Today, they will follow the road deeper into the city. The first diver descends. The water closes around him, cool and endless. He follows the rope, each handhold pulling him farther from the light above. The familiar shapes emerge. The plaza, the toppled columns, the scattered mosaics. He does not pause. He moves toward the far end, where the road narrows and begins to slope gently downward. Here, the stones are darker, covered in a thicker coat of coral. Small fish scatter as he passes. The water grows cooler, and the light fades to a dim green. The slope becomes steeper, the road twisting slightly, as though guiding travelers toward something hidden. After several minutes, the diver sees it, a vast, circular wall rising from the sea floor. It is unlike anything they have yet encountered. Smooth, perfectly shaped, and impossibly wide, it encircles a great depression in the earth. The wall is carved with the same symbols they saw on the plaza stones. But here, the carvings are deeper, sharper, untouched by time. It is as if this place was meant to endure. A narrow gate opens in the wall. Beyond it, the ground drops away sharply. The diver peers in, and sees steps, wide and worn, spiraling down into the darkness. The rope tugs gently at his waist. His time is nearly gone. Reluctantly, he turns back, carrying the image of that gate in his mind. When he surfaces, his voice is quiet but certain. "There is more," he tells the captain. "Much more." The next dive begins almost immediately. 2 men descend this time, each with their own rope, their own light. The plaza passes quickly. The road, the slope, the circular wall, all fall behind them. They pass through the narrow gate and begin their descent along the spiral steps. At first, the steps are clean, their edges smooth. But as they descend, they begin to find signs of collapse. Broken stones, cracks in the wall, great chunks of coral-covered rubble. And yet, the structure still holds. The deeper they go, the more the light fades. They ignite their lamps, soft orbs of brightness in the green gloom. The walls shimmer with life, delicate sea fans, slow-moving crabs, and schools of tiny silver fish that vanish the instant the light touches them. At last, the stairs open into a great chamber. It is vast, so large that their lights cannot find the far wall. The floor is patterned with enormous tiles of black and white stone, many cracked but still in place. In the center, a pool of perfectly clear water sits still, reflecting their lights like a sheet of glass. Around the pool, statues stand in silent ranks. Some are tall, their faces proud and untouched. Others lie broken, their heads resting several feet from their bodies. Each figure wears the same crown, a band of stone carved to look like waves. One of the divers moves closer to a statue that still stands. Its eyes are deep set, its mouth stern. In its hands, it holds a sphere, smooth, featureless, and unlike any stone he has seen before. The surface glimmers faintly, almost as if it is lit from within. The rope tugs again, the signal to return. They ascend slowly, the images fixed in their minds. The spiral stairs, the great pool, the silent statues, all waiting below the weight of the sea. On the surface, the air feels thin, almost unreal. They speak in hushed tones, describing what they have found. The captain listens without interrupting, his expression unreadable. When they finish, he simply nods. Tomorrow, they will return to the chamber. Tomorrow, they will see what lies beyond the circle of statues. As night falls, the sea is calm again. Too calm. The stars shimmer in the water, and somewhere in the depths, the lost city waits, watching. The dawn is pale, a thin silver line above the horizon. The crew moves quietly, their voices low, their steps measured. There is no need for haste. The sea will not be rushed. It waits, as it has waited for centuries. keeping its secrets in the cool darkness below. The divers prepare in silence. Their minds are still on the chamber, the spiral steps, the pool of still water, the statues crowned with waves. There had been no time yesterday to explore further. But today, the plan is clear. They will descend again, pass through the plaza, follow the road, spiral down into the chamber, and then they will push beyond the circle of statues. The first descent is smooth. The sun is still low, and the water above the plaza glows with a muted green light. The divers move in practiced rhythm, each movement slow, conserving their strength. They pass the plaza without a glance. The road slopes away beneath them, the great wall curves into sight, and the narrow gate draws them onward. The spiral stairs greet them like an old friend, familiar, yet still strange. The water grows cooler as they descend, and the shadows deepen. When at last they reach the chamber, they pause. It is exactly as they left it. The tiled floor, the perfect pool, the silent ranks of statues. Nothing stirs. They move forward. Between the statues, the floor changes. The black and white tiles give way to stone slabs marked with faint carvings, patterns that swirl like currents in the sea. The designs seem to lead somewhere, pulling the eye toward a darker section of the chamber. Here, the statues end. A wide opening gapes in the wall, framed by two massive pillars carved in the shape of twisting waves. Beyond it, a tunnel slopes downward. The darkness inside is complete. Their lamps pierce only a short distance before fading into black. The divers exchange a glance, then move inside. The tunnel is narrow at first, the walls close enough to touch on both sides. The carvings continue here, no longer flowing patterns, but images. They show ships, storms, and cities rising from the sea. Farther along, the scenes change. The ships are broken. The cities are crumbling. Figures flee from towering waves. It is a story, and it does not end well. The tunnel widens. They step into another chamber, smaller than the first, but filled with strange machines. Bronze arms, wheels, and stone channels crisscross the room. Everything is covered in coral and silt, but the shapes remain. In the center, a great cylinder rises from the floor, its surface etched with hundreds of tiny marks. One of the divers brushes away the silt and finds more of the glowing stone, the same material as the sphere held by the statue above. They cannot tell what it means, but the feeling in the room is different. It is not ceremonial, like the pool above. This feels functional, purposeful. At the far side of the room, another tunnel leads on. But here, the floor has collapsed, opening into a deep chasm. The light from their lamps cannot find the bottom. A slow current drifts upward from the darkness, carrying fine clouds of silt that swirl in the water. Time is running out. They turn back, retracing their path to the first chamber. The statues stand waiting, unchanged. The pool is still. When they surface, the air feels sharp in their lungs. The captain listens to their report without a word. When they finish, he stares out at the horizon. "There is more," he says at last. "Far more than we imagined. And it is not just a city. It is a warning." Night falls heavy over the camp. The sea is quiet, but in the quiet there is a weight, as though the water itself is holding its breath. Somewhere below, in the dark chambers and collapsed tunnels, Atlantis waits for them to return. Tomorrow, they will dive again. And tomorrow, they will try to read the last lines of the story carved in stone. The morning comes quietly, too quietly. The sea lies flat as glass, the wind absent, the horizon a pale blur between water and sky. It feels less like the beginning of a day, and more like the pause before something inevitable. The divers speak little as they prepare. They know what lies ahead, the collapsed tunnel, the chasm that dropped into the unknown. Today, they will cross it. Ropes and lights are checked. Knots are tied and retied. There is a weight in the air, as though the city beneath the waves is waiting, listening. The descent is steady, but the silence feels heavier than before. The water swallows them quickly, muting the world to the sound of their own breathing. The plaza, the spiral steps, the chamber of statues. Each passes in silence, familiar now, yet no less haunting. They move to the far side, slipping through the wave-carved pillars into the dark tunnel beyond. The carvings on the walls greet them again. Storms, falling cities, desperate figures. But this time, they notice details they missed before. One figure stands apart in every scene, crowned, holding a staff shaped like a trident. His face is stern, unyielding, and always, behind him, the waves rise higher. When they reach the smaller chamber, they move without hesitation. Past the bronze arms and wheels, past the glowing cylinder, to the gaping hole in the floor. The ropes are secured. One diver leans over the edge, shining a beam of light into the darkness. It reveals nothing. The blackness seems endless. They begin their descent into the chasm. The light from above fades quickly, replaced by the faint glow of their lamps. The walls fall away, leaving only the slow swirl of water and drifting silt. Every sound seems amplified. The creak of rope, the faint tap of a carabiner against stone. Minutes pass. The bottom is still nowhere in sight. Then, slowly, a faint glimmer appears below. It grows as they descend, a pale blue radiance, shifting like the surface of the sea in sunlight. When at last their feet touch the floor, they find themselves standing in a vast cavern. Its walls are lined with crystal-like formations that emit a steady, ghostly light. The ceiling arches high above, lost in shadow. In the center of the cavern rises a structure, a perfect dome, smooth and seamless, carved from the same glowing stone they have seen before. The surface is covered in markings, spiraling inward toward a single, unbroken seal at the front. They move closer. The markings are not random. They tell a story. Atlantis in its prime, its harbors full, its markets alive. Then the disasters, the quakes, the waves, the collapse. But unlike the carvings above, this story ends differently. Here, the final scene shows a great council, gathered around the dome itself, their hands raised toward the sea. And in the center of the dome, etched clearly, is the same crowned figure they saw in the tunnel. It is here that the truth begins to take shape. The destruction was not an accident. It was a choice. The divers exchange tense glances. The dome is sealed, but near the base they see what looks like a narrow crack. It is small, barely wide enough to slip a hand through, but inside, something shimmers. The captain's voice comes faintly through the radio. "Do not touch it. Not yet. We need to understand it first." They back away, the weight of what they've seen pressing on them. The crystal walls of the cavern seem to hum faintly, as though remembering an ancient vibration. The water feels thicker here, heavier. The journey back is slow, almost reluctant. When they surface, the air feels different, sharper, colder, as though the ocean has shared something it should not have. That night, no one sleeps easily. They know now that they are not just uncovering a ruin. They are unearthing a decision made thousands of years ago, a decision that may have been meant to keep something sealed away. And tomorrow, they will decide whether to open it. The morning arrives shrouded in a silver haze. The sea is still, but not calm. Beneath the glassy surface, a strange pulse seems to move through the water, as if the ocean itself is holding its breath. The decision has been made. Today the dome will be opened. The divers work in silence. Every movement feels deliberate. Final. Lights are checked. Ropes are coiled. The descent begins. The familiar route passes by. The plaza, the arches, the spiral stairs, the chamber of statues. The tunnel swallows them once more, its carvings watching silently as they pass. Down the chasm they go, into the crystal-lit cavern. The dome stands waiting, just as they left it, unchanged, yet somehow expectant. They move to the base where the narrow crack waits. The shimmering within still flickers faintly, as though sensing their return. A diver kneels, placing a gloved hand against the seam. The captain's voice comes through the radio. Careful. Slow. Don't force it. The first tool slips into the crack, gently widening it. The dome resists at first, the stone feeling almost alive beneath their hands. Then, slowly, with a deep, resonant sound that vibrates through the water, the seal begins to give way. A thin stream of light escapes. It is not the pale blue glow of the crystals, but a warmer, golden light. Soft, almost like sunlight filtered through water. The crack widens. The hum in the cavern grows stronger, reverberating through their chests. Then, with a final deep shudder, the dome splits open. The golden light spills out in a slow wave, illuminating the cavern walls until they gleam like polished glass. Inside the dome is a chamber unlike anything they've seen before. Its floor is made of pure white stone, smooth and unbroken. In the center stands a circular platform, and upon it, a sphere of water suspended in the air, spinning slowly without breaking apart. Within the sphere, images flicker. Cities, mountains, forests. And then, the faces of people long gone. Atlanteans. The divers drift closer. The images shift, showing Atlantis in its final hours. The council gathered in the great hall, the crowned figure at their center. Quakes shaking the streets, walls cracking, the ocean rising. But instead of fleeing, the people move toward the dome. Hands are placed on the glowing walls. A great wave crashes above, but does not touch them. Instead, the light swallows them whole. One by one, they dissolve into the sphere of water, until the city is empty, and the dome closes. The truth settles over the divers in heavy silence. Atlantis was not destroyed. It was transformed. Its people still exist, preserved somehow within this sphere, locked in a moment outside of time. One diver reaches toward the sphere, fingertips almost touching the shimmering surface. The captain's voice breaks sharply over the radio. "Stop! We don't know what will happen!" But the water itself seems to reach back, rippling, swirling, as if recognizing them. For a heartbeat, the images shift again, showing the divers themselves, swimming through the city, passing the statues, opening the dome. The present and the past fold together like two pages pressed flat. A deep rumble rolls through the cavern. The crystals brighten until the light is almost blinding. The sphere spins faster, the images becoming a blur. Then, without warning, the light fades. The hum stops. The cavern falls silent once more. The sphere is still there, but it is no longer moving. The golden light is gone, replaced by the same pale blue glow as the crystals. The faces inside are frozen, unmoving. The divers pull back slowly, the weight of the moment sinking in. Whatever they have touched, whatever they have awakened, is now sleeping again. Perhaps for another 1,000 years. The journey back to the surface is quiet. When they break into open air, the sky is just as they left it, silver and still. But the sea feels different now, as though it holds a secret, and has chosen not to share the rest. That night, they sit together in silence, listening to the waves against the hull. No one speaks of opening the dome again. Some things, they decide, are meant to remain in the deep. And so, Atlantis sleeps on, its people suspended in their endless moment, its streets draped in coral and shadow, its domes resting under the slow, patient weight of the ocean. The sea keeps its secrets well, and this one, it will keep forever.